There's a quote by a great Cities and Knights player named 24 Carat, and he said, "The game starts at 7 points." What does this mean? There's many ways to interpret this message, but in the context of late-game goals and plans, we're going to break it down like this. In the early game, your goal is essentially to build up your infrastructure, flexibility, metro threats, and prepare to play the late game as smoothly as you possibly can. Aqueduct, Second City, grid progress tracks, etc. The late game is where you more directly start to develop and visualize a concrete plan on how to win the game and calculate winning sequences, winning aqueduct choice combos, etc. In the base game, there's a term called double play. What this means is that you take longest road and largest army in the same turn and win, making a play on two conditions at the same time. In base game, 4 points in one turn is quite a lot, especially at the higher level. The double play would be considered a big turn. However, in Cities and Knights, there are so many different 2-point win conditions that you'll frequently see great players making 5 to 8 point turns. Why? Because they directly visualize and calculate their wins using the combination of metros, road, merchant, settles, cities, etc., starting from fairly early on in the game. As 24 Carat said, the game starts at 7 points, and sometimes even earlier. The game of setting up win conditions, calculating your win, and visualizing your win clearly. Alright guys, pay close attention to this slide. I promise you, if you understand and apply the principles in this slide effectively, your game and your win rate will change forever. So without further ado, let's get into it. You want to set up your win conditions. These include road, metros, merchant, settles, cities, defender point, etc. You don't always have to have a big turn to win the game, and most of the time you don't. But giving yourself the flexibility and capability of one is very powerful. Next, you want to manage and monitor your points. Stay high enough to be within striking distance, but low enough to use and avoid progress cards effectively and stay under the radar. A big theme here is allowing yourself to play good quality weddings, as we'll see later in this video. Not all points are equal in value. You want to add your win condition up to 13 and figure out which points don't contribute to that. There might be a low pip settle or city that doesn't help your game or gets you blocked, and there might be more important things to focus on. On that note, sometimes it's easy for you to get to 12 points, but not so easy to get to 13, and you have to find a way to make another easy point. This usually comes in the form of a defender point or drawing a merchant. You want to visualize exactly how to win. Get specific and look ahead. Calculate winning sequences and aqueduct choices. Save your key progress cards for key moments and don't waste them. Sometimes you need to dump cards because spies come out or you already have 4 cards and don't want to go over, but if not, save your key progress cards. Look at your opponent's positions. How do they win? Sometimes your win condition is preventing an opponent from winning, and you want to figure out the most effective way to do this. Be on the lookout for trade opportunities that can put you closer to the win. Sometimes a trade can bring you from 3 or 4 rows away from the win to 1 or 2 rows away from the win. And this can make a huge difference, especially when you're hiding great progress cards in your hand. Last but not least, you can avoid a lot of blocks, robs, and spies by letting your opponents know you don't have a merchant and or mono at the end of the game. These 2 cards, especially the merchant, are often questioned near the end of the game, and you can really lower your threat level by revealing that you don't have one or both of them. So, we're going to dive into each and every one of these, starting with setting up your win conditions. When it comes to the longest road, the 4th road in your road network is very important, but the 3rd road is also underrated. Why is this the case? If you have 4 roads in your road network and nobody's taken road yet, it means 2 points costs 1 wood and 1 brick. And when it comes to the 3rd road, it means drawing a road building can get you to 5 roads, and you can potentially win with no wasted roads if nobody takes road. A lot of table talk when it comes to road happens when somebody has 4 roads, but not many people talk about players with 3 roads, so you can really avoid table talk while still being within striking distance. Next we have metros, and ideally you want to aim for multiple and or uncontested metros to keep yourself flexible. Setting up open settlement spots means it only costs 4 resources to make a point. The great part about available cities and Cities and Knights is that you have the irrigation, mining, and medicine to help with building them, which can effectively make cities a free point. And of course, we can't forget about defender points, which can give you that easy crucial point to take you from an easy 12 points to an easy 13 points. Last but not least, we have the merchant, which is a free point. Let's take a look at some examples. This is a game I played in Catan Championship a few months ago. Given what we just talked about in the previous slides, what do you notice about my position? I'll give you a few seconds. There should be 7 different things you're noticing here. So the first thing we notice here is that my road network has 4 roads, and I'm ready to build 1 road to get 2 points. Secondly, I have an available city left. Number 3, I have an open settlement spot on the 912. Number 4, the beauty of not having settled yet is that if you draw a diplomat, you can move the road into your road network and take road for free. Number 5 is that I'm threatening the green metro. Number 6 is that I have a merchant for a free point. And number 7 is that I saved my key progress cards for this turn, including 2 monos. There's no wheat or ore on the board, so I had to carefully calculate that there's exactly 4 wood on the board to give me the win. And this is how the game ended. As you can see, not much really changed on the board, but it resulted in a 6-point turn. This is the power of setting up win conditions. In the next example, we have this position. This was a game played in Catan Championship about a month ago, and we see just from the information on the screen that Carm has the win in hand. But what made this possible? Number 1 is that she's prepping road. You always want to have a good gauge of loops in road networks. You want to know without thinking that a loop is 6 roads, a loop with 1 road sticking out is 7 roads, etc. And in this position, Carm can build 2 roads to go to 7 roads and take road. Number 2 is that she saved the merchant for her key turn for a free point. Number 3 is that she's threatening the green metro, and there's actually multiple ways to win here, only given the information on the screen. See if you can spot them. I'll give you a few seconds. Feel free to pause the video. Let's spell them out. One possibility is road, settle, metro, merchant, which you get by monoing 3 brick and master merchanting a wood and something else from Pema, settling on the ore port and porting ore. And another possibility is road, city, metro, merchant, which you get by monoing brick and master merchanting a wood and something else from Pema. And this is how the game ended. Again, we see that not much changed on the board, but Carm did a 6-point turn. Again, this is the power in setting up win conditions. The next example is a game from Catan Championship from a few months ago, and we can see that if we map out Phil4's win, it's simply road, settle, city. That's it. Which means we only need to mono 2 wheat and 3 ore to win the game from this position. We can see that this is what actually happened in the game, and there's multiple ways to win here. Can you see them? I'll give you a few seconds. Feel free to pause the video. The first one is road, settle, city, as stated before. And the second one is road, settle, metro, using the 3-to-1 port. Let's take a look at what Fel4 is setting up to make this possible. We can see that there's the third road, 2 settlements to city up in case somebody takes green metro, and also the green metro threat. He also started his turn with 2 monos and a road building, not using the cards mindlessly, but saving them for a key turn. And as we can see, this is how the game ends for a 5-point turn. Road, settle, city. Let's take a look at this position where we see Bloods is actually able to make an 8-point turn. The first thing we see is the third road and the road building, just like the last position. The second thing to notice is the perfect double settle in hand, and combined with the road building leaves 2 open settlement spots for us. The third thing to notice is that he's threatening all 3 metros, which gives him tons of windows to win if some of his win conditions are taken. Lastly, something you always want to be aware of is how 1 steal changes your winning potential. For example, even if you're on 6 points, you want to be able to see that this cloth steal from green changes your hand from a non-winning hand to a winning hand, and you want to be able to either plan for this to happen by looking ahead or pivot your thinking to looking for the win in the moment. And this is how the game ends, with Bloods executing an 8-point turn. Road, road, settle, settle, metro, metro. In this next position, we can see that on the surface, it doesn't look like A-Rod wins here. However, let's take a closer look. We see the third road prepping longest road. We see 2 available spots to city up. We see the green metro threat. We see the saved merchant. And we see this spy, which earns A-Rod a road building. Remember, just like the last example, you want to be able to prepare for a rob or a spy, changing your win potential on the spot, either by calculating what you need to win, or by shifting your thinking in the moment to looking for the win. And this road building steal gives A-Rod the win. And we can see that this is how the game ends with a 7-point turn. Road, road, city, city, metro, merchant. Now let's take a step back. In the previous examples, we looked at positions where certain win conditions were prepared and resulted in having the win. However, what about when you don't have the win in hand? What can you do to further solidify your win? Here we have a position from a semi-final game at Catan Championship from a few months ago, where Aaron doesn't have the win, but he does have the nice position with some nice progress cards. Here we want to be able to see that our win is either road, settle, metro, merchant, or if they feed the metro to orange, it's road, settle, 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 merchant. So in order to prepare this, we can settle on 6, 11, 12 and play the road building to the 11 ore. This way, we don't get plowed and can prepare a road connect if we need it, and also leave 2 settle spots open. As we can see, this is what Aaron did, and now he has an alchemist and a bishop in hand to help with the remaining points, and 1 road is essentially 11 points. This was how the game ended, and it all started from preparing longest road and open settlement spots, and being willing to find another way to win if the green metro gets taken. Here's a position from a Catan Championship game, and the main question we have to ask ourselves here as Pel4 is how do we win if longest road is taken? It's pretty easy to get to 12 points through settle, city, city, merchant, but where is our last point coming from? If we go for the blue metro, the table is definitely feeding the metro to red. This is where the defender point comes in. Let's say we were on 9 points right now instead of 8. Our win would be very easy, and we have a ton of knights on the board and almost level 3 coin. As we can see, this is how the game ended. Longest road was taken, and Pel4 pivoted to focusing on other things. Now let's talk about managing and monitoring points. You want to be within striking distance of winning the game, but you also want to remain low enough in points to avoid progress cards being played on you, and play progress cards effectively on your opponents. And of course, you also want to maintain a low threat level. This position is from a KOC City the Knights Premier League game, and we can see I have a city in hand. However, the problem is, if I build a city here, I may never get a chance to have 2 6-card weddings, and I may get a bit stuck. So instead, I ported wood to activate a knight and pass. Low threat level, key hexes protected, and preparing for a big turn. Here's my hand in the next orbit. First of all, it's important to see that brick is the only aqueduct that gives us winning chances as we're going for road, 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 city, city to win. We can see now that not building that city resulted in the ability to play 2 6-card weddings, which ultimately gave me the win and a 5-point turn. Here's a position from the Catan Championship Finals from a couple months ago, and the same principles apply. Again, the only reason I had winning potential here was because I stayed low enough in points to play a 6-card wedding. And in the end, this is how the game ended. Road, 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 settle. Staying low in points, identifying the game-winning aqueduct choice, and playing key progress cards at the key moments. Now let's take a look at the concept of low-impact points. Here's a position from a Catan Championship game I played a couple months ago. The first thing to notice here is that PW True has robber control and keeps blocking the 4 sheep. Now, I could city the 410, which looks like a great city on the surface. The problem is, PW will start blocking the 4 wood, which is way more impactful. The reason this is a problem is because I want to sneak road, and the 4 wood also helps me almost as much with the cloth metro as the 4 sheep does. So I want to keep myself flexible. So instead, I ported my hand for a road settle on the 10 brick, which does a few things. it improves my brick production, it doesn't look as scary as a 410 city, and it prepares this road loop. Remember what I said about road loops earlier with Karm's game. So now in this position, you can see that I got out of a rob and out of a big block here because I diversified my block spots, settled instead of citying, and kept my threat level low. I also saved all of my progress cards, which will come in handy soon. And this is how the game ended. Investing in this 10 and seeing the long-term potential of the position ended up giving me the win. And this is a perfect example of how points that look high impact can actually be low impact if you don't look at the long-term ramifications. This example is a bit simpler, but important nonetheless. I have a city in hand, however my setup produces cities very easily, and if I build one now and lose the blue metro, I'm a little bit stuck. This city on the 2 sheep also does nothing, so porting the city away for the metro is definitely the priority here. This is how the game ended, and we can see that in the end, I was easily able to build the city anyway. Here's a position where Fel4 can city up to 311. However, we have a problem, and that is that if he gets locked out of settle spots, he needs a defender point and a merchant or an intrigue to win. In this example, the 311 city is an example of a low impact point because it doesn't help you with your win condition. To fix this problem, an idea is to aqueduct brick instead of ore and move this knight to the 310 and reactivate, making our way to the 510. Then, after securing the 510, the win becomes much easier and the 311 can be citied at any time. Let's talk about visualizing the win. You want to be precise and calculate your aqueduct choices and winning sequences. This involves looking ahead. In this position, A-Rod isn't really close to the win, but there are a few important things to look at. The first one is this cut spot in the middle of Blood's Road. This can help win the game in the future when A-Rod wants to take road to win. The second thing to note is that if hard Jaden settles on the 10-2, A-Rod's road is tapped and loses a potential settle spot, and Jaden can loop the 10 sheep, which really hurts A-Rod's road prospects. So a solution to this problem is plowing Jaden by settling on the 2 wheat. This makes Jaden less incentivized to loop his roads, and if he does loop around the 10 sheep or 9 wood, A-Rod can cut his road on the 10-2. As we see here, this is what A-Rod decided to do, keeping himself flexible and opening another settle spot for himself. Later, A-Rod finds himself with this hand, and as we can see, this is the win by cutting Blood's road and playing the intrigue. Let's go back to this position. A 3 rolled, and we're about to mono wood and pair it with a wedding. So brick is the only winning aqueduct because we're going for a road settle for the win. Ultimately, I ended up with this hand after the wedding, and as we can see, we have road settle in hand for the win. Let's take a look at this position, which I believe is from a ranked game on Colonists. And what I want you to notice here is how many different ways to win Elizito has. He has 2 metros he can take, but even if both of them get taken, he can connect and crush Black's knight to take road, and he can build a city and get a defender point super easily with all of his knight strength. Let's now go back to this position here, where it's 1 roll away from Fel4's turn, and he actually has 2 winning rolls here, 4 and 8. With the 4, you can build a road, mono coin, and port wood, sheep, and ore for the coin metro. And with an 8, you can build a road, mono coin, and port 4 sheep and 2 ore for the metro. You always want to keep these things in the back of your mind in case they happen, so that you don't miss wins. You also want to be calculating what happens if you 7 out. The table is definitely going to try and feed the coin metro to red, so if you go for it this orbit, you'll likely waste your cards. So if you 7 out, you need to keep in mind that your win is road settle city. So getting rid of 2 sheep, an ore, and 2 coin keeps you as close as possible to the win. Now, let me ask you a question. What do all of these winning hands have in common? I'll give you a few seconds. Feel free to pause the video. The thing all of these hands have in common is that they all have 3 to 5 progress cards and save key progress cards for key moments to give themselves winning possibilities. Next, let's talk about making it difficult for your opponents to win, locking them out of win conditions, or making it difficult. It's a simple three-step process. Identify their winning potential, determine their winning paths, and come up with a plan to stop it. In this position, Felfour can win soon, but only if he settles on the 5-10. So my job is to make sure that doesn't happen. The game plan for me here is to build 2 roads to the 5-10, which gives me an unstoppable road connect, and later settle and connect for road. And as we saw earlier, this is what happened in the game. Now let's take a look at this position. This is from the Catan Championship Finals from a few months ago, and here Spointeroo is on 12 points, just needing a merchant or longest road to win. We can see here in the chat that Poosh proposes a blue Metro steal, and that he'll give all of his cards. Then in this position, we can see that they managed to get Bloods to steal Spointeroo's Metro, and then Poosh soft locks road, so that Spointeroo and Flying Chinaman can't win. Then here, Flying Chinaman is also on 12 points, so Poosh proposes that Bloods plow the 9-12, which essentially makes it so that Flying Chinaman can only win with 5 roads. So they accomplish this, and now Poosh and Bloods are essentially the only ones really able to win the game anytime soon. And in the end, this is how the game ended. Looking for trade opportunities in the late game is also a valuable skill in Cities and Knights. The objectives here are to increase your winning combination chances, capitalize on opportunities to get more value, and if you need to do something for the table, try to get them to feed you extra cards. In this position, we can see Poosh was able to get an extra road from Bloods before playing the road building to connect, and now if a 9 rolls, he has a settlement in hand. In this position, we can see that A-Rod was able to get a wheat out of Squash to build his second city and make some quicker progress. Then later in this example, we see that A-Rod is able to get more resources out of me than he needs to take road, in order to make more progress towards settling. Lastly, in this example, I gave away my commodities that I don't need to get a wood from Gleeful Worm to give me a wood 3-for-1 that puts me closer to a double settle for the win, as I now only need 2 cards instead of 3. Now it's time for the bonus tip, which is table talking about your progress cards. The 2 cards people are often worried about the most when it comes to asking about your yellow cards in the endgame are the Merchant and the Mono. So here, you want to say you don't have a merchant if you don't have one. And if you don't have a merchant nor a mono, you want to say that you don't have either. This principle can also apply to the road building, but usually people are more worried about yellow cards. There's a good reason people are afraid of these cards. If we go back to this slide, 7 out of 8 winning hands have either a merchant or a mono, and all 8 winning hands have a merchant, mono, or road building. So just to recap, set up your win conditions, and try to set up multiple or uncontested ones. Manage and monitor your points. Visualize and calculate exactly how to win. Save key progress cards for key moments. Take away your opponent's win conditions, be on the lookout for trade opportunities, and table talk, but not too aggressively or obnoxiously. Execute the principles in this slide effectively, and you will win more games. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.